All right, so let's dive into this whole thing about Gen Z reshaping the future of work.
Yeah.
I mean, you sent over a ton of articles and studies and even some raw data about this.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like it's more than just, like entry-level jobs.
Right.
This is like impacting the whole way companies think about work and how they design jobs even.
Yeah, it really seems to be influencing how leaders manage teams,
Across generations.
Yeah, across generations, exactly.
So what is it about Gen Z's vision of work that makes them so different?
Well, one of the biggest things is how much they care about job satisfaction.
Okay.
Like way more than previous generations, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, we always hear about, young professionals just chasing the biggest paycheck possible.
Right, exactly. And that's just not the case here.
So what's the data say?
So this Unstopped study we have, it found that like 72% of Gen Z would actually choose job satisfaction over a higher salary.
Wow, 72%.
Yeah.
That's huge.
It is. It's a really big difference.
So it's not just about avoiding a job they hate.
No, it's much deeper than that.
They actually want to be passionate about their work.
Exactly. They're looking for work that really, aligns with their values, their passions, what they care about. We actually have a report here called the Gen Z effect, and it found that 37% of them consider meaningful work to be the most important thing when picking a job.
Even over things like salary and benefits.
Yeah.
And company culture.
Yeah, more than salary benefits, even company culture.
So it's not just about perks, like free snacks and game rooms.
Yeah, not at all.
Like, what are some ways this actually plays out in their job choices?
Well, think about the rise of fields like green energy
Okay.
or ethical AI development,
Yeah.
Those industries are attracting a lot of Gen Z talent because
it's work that has an impact.
Exactly. They can contribute to something bigger than themselves, make a difference.
I can see that appealing to them for sure.
Yeah.
But we can't ignore the fact that they're entering the workforce at a pretty uncertain time economically.
Yeah.
A lot of the data you sent over highlights their fears about job security.
Oh, absolutely, and understandably so.
Yeah, with all the talk of recessions and automation.
Yeah, they've grown up hearing about all of that,
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely shaped how they view the world and their careers.
Yeah, so we have this tension, right?
Yeah.
They want work that's meaningful, but they're also worried about the economy.
Yeah, exactly. It's a balancing act for sure.
So how does that play out in their expectations for work-life balance?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Because globally, we're seeing this trend of right to disconnect laws.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about that.
Like in Australia, for example, where employees can actually ignore work calls after hours.
Wow.
It's about setting healthier boundaries between work and personal life.
That's great.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, we have examples from India
Right.
where some pretty prominent business leaders are actually pushing for 70-hour work weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems like the complete opposite of what Gen Z wants.
It does, and it raises a big question.
Like, will India adapt to attract this generation?
Exactly. Will they adapt or risk losing them to countries with, better work-life balance policies?
It's a tough situation.
Yeah, it could lead to a brain drain if things don't change.
It's a real risk for those companies.
Yeah, for sure.
And then on top of that, you have this skills gap that's happening globally.
Right.
Like, all the data shows how high growth sectors are demanding skills that people just don't have.
Yeah, and traditional education systems aren't really keeping up.
You're talking about fields like AI and data science.
Yeah, exactly. All the buzzwords we keep hearing, right?
Yeah.
But it's not just buzz. These fields are growing like crazy.
And there aren't enough qualified people to fill the jobs.
Exactly, leaving companies scrambling to find talent.
So how does Gen Z fit into all of this?
Well, they're actually using it to their advantage in some ways.
How so?
By turning to the gig economy.
Yeah.
Which gives them the flexibility to learn new skills quickly. But the trade-off is they don't get the same job security and benefits as traditional jobs.
Right. It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah. It's a complex landscape they're navigating.
For sure.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of interesting, though, right?
What's that?
This whole skills gap thing.
Yeah.
It's actually giving Gen Z a chance to, create their own career paths.
You mean they're not just waiting for someone to tell them what to do?
Exactly. They're not just accepting that whole, climb the corporate ladder model.
Right. Like, they're not just passively going along with the traditional way of doing things.
Yeah, and I think that's a big difference.
So what are they doing differently?
Well, remember that Gen Z in the Workplace report?
Yeah.
It talked about this disconnect.
Between what?
Between what recruiters think Gen Z wants and what they actually want.
Oh, interesting.
Like, 44% of recruiters thought Gen Z cared more about company culture.
Then career progression.
Right, but that's not actually true.
So what do they want then?
They want both.
Okay, so good company culture and a way to move up.
Yeah, they want a supportive environment, but they also want opportunities to grow and learn new things.
So they're not afraid to, like, speak up for what they want.
No, not at all. And they're not necessarily looking for that traditional step-by-step climb either.
What do you mean?
They're open to trying different roles, moving horizontally to gain experience.
Okay.
Before moving up, it's more like a career lattice than a ladder.
A career lattice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah,
So instead of just focusing on job titles, they're thinking about building skills.
exactly. They want to be adaptable and try new things,
Mm.
find their niche.
Mm-hmm. And their comfort with technology probably helps with that.
Oh, absolutely. Their digital fluency is a huge advantage in today's world.
That makes sense. So it's one thing to say you're comfortable with tech,
Yeah.
but are there actual examples of how Gen Z is using it to change the way we work?
Oh, tons of examples.
Like what?
Well, for one, they're embracing remote work and all these virtual collaboration tools.
Yeah.
Like way more than older generations.
Makes sense.
They're also pushing for companies to adopt new technologies.
Okay, but not just to automate tasks.
No, they want to use tech to enhance creativity and problem solving.
Are there any companies doing this well?
Yeah, there are some interesting examples.
Okay, tell me more.
Well, internal apprenticeship programs are becoming more popular.
Oh, like in tech companies?
Yeah, especially in tech, they're realizing that traditional education isn't enough.
Right.
So they're creating their own training programs to teach the skills they need.
So they're investing in Gen Z's development.
Exactly, rather than just expecting them to show up with all the skills already.
It's smart.
It is, and it's not just about technical skills either.
Oh, right.
There's this Deloitte research that talks about the importance of soft skills.
Okay, things like creativity and critical thinking.
Yeah, those are the things that machines can't replicate.
So companies need people who can both use the tech and think for themselves.
Exactly. It's about finding people who can adapt, think outside the box, come up with innovative solutions.
Right, and Gen Z seems to be pretty good at that.
Yeah, they've grown up immersed in technology, so it's kind of second nature to them.
Makes sense. So we've talked about what companies are doing.
Mm-hmm.
But what about Gen Z's impact on workplace culture itself?
Oh, that's a big one.
What are they changing?
Well, one of the most significant things is their emphasis on diversity and inclusion.
Yeah, they seem to care a lot about that.
It's not just a buzzword for them, it's a core value.
So they expect to see it reflected in the companies they work for.
Absolutely. It's not enough for companies to just talk about diversity.
They have to actually do it.
Exactly. They have to walk the walk.
And the research backs this up, right?
Yeah. Both the NUW and Deloitte research show that Gen Z prioritizes diversity.
Across race, gender orientation, everything.
Everything, yeah. And they want to see it at all levels of a company.
From entry level all the way to the top.
Exactly. It's not just about being fair. It's about bringing different perspectives to the table.
Right, because diversity leads to better ideas and better solutions.
Exactly. They understand that it's not just a moral imperative, it's a business imperative.
Companies that are more diverse are more successful.
Exactly. They're more innovative. They can connect with a wider range of customers.
So Gen Z is pushing for a more equitable, inclusive, and ultimately more successful future of work.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
It's pretty amazing how much impact they're having,
It is, and we haven't even touched on their views on sustainability.
or what it really means to have a fulfilling career.
Yeah, there's so much more to discuss.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so we're back, and before the break, we were talking about
Yeah.
Gen Z's commitment to diversity and inclusion.
Right, right.
But there's this other piece of their worldview that I think is having a big impact, too.
Oh, for sure.
Sustainability.
Yeah, they're really aware of the climate crisis, and they're not afraid to hold companies accountable,
And it's showing up in their career choices, too, right?
Yeah.
Like, I've seen all these articles about Gen Z going into green jobs.
Yeah, totally. We're seeing a lot of them going into renewable energy, sustainable agriculture.
Yeah.
Even ethical fashion.
It seems like they want to make a difference.
Yeah, it's not just about working in those specific sectors, though.
What do you mean?
They're pushing companies in all industries to be more responsible.
So it's about pushing for change from within.
Exactly, no matter where they work.
And are companies listening?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, we're seeing more and more businesses, publishing sustainability reports,
Mhm.
setting environmental goals.
For sure, investors are paying attention. Consumers are too.
And Gen Z is making it clear that sustainability is not optional.
Right. It's non-negotiable for them.
It's pretty amazing how much influence they have already.
It is, especially considering they're just starting out in their careers.
It makes me wonder, though, what can the rest of us learn from them?
That's a good question.
I mean, regardless of our generation,
Yeah.
what can we take away from Gen Z's approach to work?
I think the biggest thing is aligning your work with your values,
Yeah.
finding a career that's both personally fulfilling.
And makes a difference in the world.
Exactly.
So it's not just about a paycheck.
No, it's about finding work that has meaning and purpose.
Yeah. And being willing to challenge the status quo.
Mm-hmm. Advocate for change.
Use your skills to make a positive impact.
Exactly. And Gen Z is showing us that it's possible.
They're really raising the bar for all of us.
Yeah, for sure.
It's inspiring to see their energy and their optimism.
Yeah, it's exciting.
As we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with this thought.
Okay.
Imagine a workplace where technology helps us be more creative, where well-being is a priority, and everyone feels valued.
That sounds pretty great.
Gen Z might be leading the way, but it's a future we can all help build.
Absolutely. It's a team effort.
Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.
Yeah, this was fun.
Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep pushing for a better future of work.